This video is about letting the cleaning action work for you on heavily oxidized aluminum, oil-soaked aluminum, contaminated aluminum, old dirty aluminum. We weld aluminum typically on alternating current, and that's because you get a cleaning action from alternating current, and most modern TIG welders have a function called AC balance. It's a very useful feature. It lets you dial in exactly how much cleaning action you need depending on how clean or dirty the aluminum is you're welding. That's one thing that controls your cleaning. It's not all there is to it. Typically, your cleaning action will only go where there is argon shielding, and you're going to get better argon shielding with a gas lens, so you can actually get more cleaning action by using a gas lens. And before I ever puddle, I'm going to let that cleaning action dance a little bit. I'm going to let it do its work. Now the reverse part of the alternating current, the electrode positive part, is where you get the cleaning action. It has been compared to a sandblasting operation, kind of like what it looks like here. It is really blasting and cooking out some contaminants. I'm not puddling yet. I'm trying not to anyway. I'm also just letting a little bit of heat build up. I preheated this slightly to about 100 to 150. That always helps too. Trying to keep the hot tip of that rod shielded with the argon. That's always helpful. With aluminum you can get away with a little bit there, more so than you can, let's say, on stainless steel or something. But it's very helpful to keep it shielded with the argon, and the big cup kind of helps with that. Welding on the edges of a big heavy part like this first too builds up a little bit of heat in the part, so that you can kind of build it up to a couple hundred degrees before you get to the meat of it. Here again, just letting that cleaning action dance a little bit, way ahead of me before I ever puddle and before I ever add rod. One big mistake is adding rod prematurely. Every now and then you can see a little piece of trash float up in this puddle, even though I have cleaned it with abrasive, I have wiped it down, I wire brushed it, wiped it with acetone, did everything I could. It's still got some trash in it. Could be cutting fluid, could just be it's sitting outside for a long time. Aluminum kind of acts like a sponge sometimes. It seems like there is just stuff underneath the surface that needs to cook out. You can see some of that brown borderline area where stuff rose to the surface. Now things are getting kind of hot, and that's a good thing. I say hot, approaching 150 degrees, so this would weld even better at around 200 to 250. But watch the cleaning action just work here. It's cooking away that crud. I don't want to melt that in the puddle. I'm going to let it cook away before I ever start puddling, and that means I'm not going to give it very much amperage until it cooks away. Now I got a pretty clean puddle. If I still want to go pretty slow, you can still see it cooking out some more stuff right in front of the puddle. Again, trying to keep that hot tip of that rod shielded with argon. Take a look at that. You can see that cleaning path right there. Going nice and slow, not to outrun the cleaning and to build up some heat in this part. This is a build-up operation, so I'm going to lay a layer of beads all over that big, thick, hairy area. It's going to go a lot better once it's preheated. Sometimes the situation calls for a smaller cup, maybe a longer stick out due to the joint configuration or how deep you have to get in there. But a gas lens will still help, especially when you need a long stick out. And again, a preheat goes a long way for aluminum castings. Here's an example of walking that cleaning action over the metal after a preheat. Not puddling yet, or at least I'm just barely puddling here and there, but I'm trying to walk that fine line. And just let the cleaning action cook out some of the crud before I melt the metal. I have found this technique helps a lot. And also 4047 filler metal works great on castings to kind of prevent so much porosity. It flows at a lower melt rate, and because of that you don't have to use quite as much amperage, so you don't pull out porosity from subsurface contaminants as much with 4047. Thanks for watching. Visit weldmonger.com.